pigs, don't you try it.
Yeah, that's big words coming from Vic, though, because him in some pressure situations always seems to pull up. The fight does continue at Latte Landing with Madden going down. Chance is still up, but he's in a 1v2. Veno on one side trying to take over as many of those pieces. Agers on the other, making sure he cannot get away for free. So even though Chance is lurking, trying to heal up, he's just trying to buy some time. Separate Veno and Agers into 2 separate 1v1s, but it doesn't look like they really want to give him that opportunity. Just spraying with the Spire Rifle. And the Spire Rifle is one of the new unvaulted weapons, replacing kind of the Stinger for the most part. And even though it doesn't have that fast rate of fire, you could endlessly spray it past like 40, 50 ammo in the clip. So that's just a lot of pressure you can put out.
Yeah, one thing I can tell by the way that this fight is going, looking and judging by the loadouts here, they haven't taken much damage, so this should be a purely net positive fight for them right now. For Veno and Agers, it's perfect considering that they've kind of spent a lot of time here lurking about and waiting for Chance and Madden to initiate the fight. That patience might just be paying off here. All he just has to do is hit the shot. There it is. They wrap this one up quickly, and there isn't a team in sight, judging by the map, so well played for them.
Which is kind of surprising with Aoxy and Jojo Fishy landing on that mountain. Could have been a great opportunity, but there goes the first elimination from Veno. That's what really opened up this opportunity. And as you were saying, taking no damage. So even though we did see a couple scratches there at the end, you got to realize the eliminations, the damage, like you said, is going to be a net positive. So for Veno and Agers, they already have the zone pushing toward the north. They have the early game eliminations for points, so confidence has to be at an all-time high for them.
As much as I love this Frosted Flex rotate for Peterbot and Pollo, they are finding themselves in between a multitude of teams. Doesn't look like they've managed to entertain any fights just yet either, so this game could be it'll set them up for a comeback story if they get collapsed on. Yep, I was gonna say there's probably some really good teams set up there. It's Acorn and Bolts nearby, no easy pick by any means. We've seen the most success out of Peterbot and Pollo when they push those more underrated, newly formed duos, right? Folks with a little less experience kind of on the way. But right now, Peterbot seems to be squished between some goats. On the other side, though, we have Ritual and Cold here at the Battlewood. Looking pretty decent. What's your take on this duo here today? They need that global spot.
I mean, they feel like they're one of the teams when you kind of look at everybody, the uncontested drops. They have to be in everybody's favorites to make the global championship, possibly even win here today. I've seen some predictions place them inside of the top 3, and it's just kind of building off of the chemistry. I think it was Vivid, Kelly talking about the placings that they had in trios with Peterbot on their roster, but you never lose that chemistry. It's almost like riding a bike. They have one of the best POIs, and I say one of the best because it's an argument going around the community which is the actual best one, and they got the whole south side essentially all to themselves. So I gotta think they have to have some of the best chances here this weekend as Skittle and Kai and get that elimination there, essentially kind of cone him off, poke the bomb, some would say.
Yeah, nice little elimination there. Meanwhile, we get a little update with Clicks here, sitting atop Surge base right now. Got Rapid playing catch up here down inside of the actual POI. Curly, Tyler rotating around the outskirts here. No sights on them just yet. I'm not sure if Clicks has actually noticed them. So they're making a rotate. No, Clicks actually has no idea he's got a duo right behind them just yet. He actually misses them. They get pretty far off. They'll probably render out here shortly, but either way, Rapid and Clicks will somewhat of a favorable zone here, so they'll be able to rotate pretty quickly, pretty easily here shortly.
Just kind of scratching my head just a little bit. Obviously, I think the Josh Liamzo, Seek Taki taking the left side, kind of where Clicks is above now, that's where they were landing, kind of fighting it out. And typically you do see them use that cube to jump on other teams. But as we saw, Moneymaker and Fernayan around them, uncontested, they went for an elimination. Towards the left side, they're not going to be able to do it. So a lot of those opportunities to surprise a team and jump on them due to the competition around them may not necessarily be there, or at least here early on in game 1. But as we continue to look around, we know Frosted Flats, Peterbot and Pollo are nearby. You see Oliver OG and X-Pawn in the distance. But as you know, Acorn and Bolts, they're the ones that hold down Frosted Flats. And you got to notice in the minimap, they actually have one of those 2 legendary POIs.
Yeah, definitely. Nice sight lines on everyone around them. The zone's actually pulling straight this way. And they get a little favoritism with the zone still pulling over this mountain here. This is one of 2 basically high points that's available kind of in this side of the map. This could calls for some very interesting turmoil come to endgame. Meanwhile, Shadow Virgo. Man, we saw so many conversations start to unravel here. Talk about putting Virgo on the fraud watch, right? Like, what's going on? What happened during heats? It should have been a shoe-in competition for them. But either way, they dominated their way through the LCL. And they did it in such a spectacular fashion, right? You saw how Virgo managed to clutch up his game, send himself straight through to the finals. And there's a lot of haters out there, right? You have folks like Veno trying to bet against them, but in the end, the M8 team came out ahead.
So far, looking good in this game, just like DK, Causers, taking a quick tag there in the distance by Flex. But you got to imagine with that elimination, they did get a decent amount of surge. They got to start feeling confident here. Got to be quick on the button though. Storm is doing a decent amount of damage, so gold is definitely going to be relevant for them in this game. As we jump on board, the eastern side of the map though, we haven't seen too much from these shores. Booga and Braids kind of making it out, contested or not, they seem to be faring well. They're only 100 damage above the threshold though. That's my main concern. It isn't necessarily the resources, the materials, anything of the sort, because even though they're 123 above now, this is the first surge that we have in the game. So if they don't continue to accumulate those numbers, we could see a point in time where they fall below that threshold.
Yeah, this entire setup is, I was going to say, almost solely dependent on whether or not a team's going to rotate around the outskirts for a dead side, and I'm not sure I love it. Underneath them, you saw Contrap and Darzi there, so the fight sort of broke out, didn't really have a meaningful ending. We'll keep tabs on it. On the other side, though, you have Jit here, just at the Latte landing. Again, so much contestation happening up here. Veno and Agers looking to stay deep in the storm right now, maximize their materials, and even that, even after finishing their fights the way you saw them do it, look at this. Their loadouts are not that pretty, not on the material count at least, and we're getting closer and closer to the 2-tick.
Yeah, it's not just the material. You see bandages in the inventory. Obviously, you know he needs those, doesn't want to use that chug unless he actually has to, but you can kind of see, because of a triple contested fight, even if you win the fight, not a lot of resources will remain when the dust settles. But they are going to go ahead and use the zone to their advantage to try to get surge. Victor V and Queesia. A real peculiar situation. 18 below the damage threshold. Uncontested on the day. And so you got to imagine with how long it took them to actually farm up and get their game going. They probably haven't had too many chances to get surge at this point in time.
Yeah, this is actually very, very scary, right? Only 4 above here. If it would have went any differently, it would have taxed them incredibly just with the surge being active here. But they're looking to stay inside the storm and play for some super key positioning right now. Now that the storm surge is actively turning on here, it's going to start costing them. But look, there's duos all around them. They just got to start getting active here, finding the shots. I was going to say, Queasy, these are the tags you need to hit here. These are your game-determining, game-defining shots right now.
Yeah, you can get 100 damage with the body shot. We just need to be able to hit those shots. Those are crucial ones like you were talking about. That led to 3 extra storm surge ticks, which was about 75 damage, possibly even more, because now he's taking that time to heal up. You got to imagine Victor V also being very, very persistent to try to get them above the damage threshold. That's why they're going to find themselves 43. Again, it's not a feeling of comfortability now that they're above that damage threshold, but it's a moment for them to breathe and reassess the situation.
I'm curious as to whether or not they have the extra heals to work with here at the POI. Well, we're rooting for them, so we'll see how it goes. Meanwhile, Peterbot sees what's happening here just outside the storm. We're talking about them needing a little bit of activity, but look at this. It turned into a nice little third party from range. Finds a fresh Elam there. Those are the big ones that matter. Peterbot Boyer rotating in from the outside of the storm. Again, no one wants to stay there. 2-tick, and then the 5 is going to start ripping apart players that get greedy here. Diabzo, Josh on the other side, fighting for their surge. Fighting for their tournament life right now. Barely holding on, 59 above. There's a couple cheeky tags there. Can he get the Elam? He does. Nicely done for Diabzo.
And honestly, coming into this, I was a little worried, you know, not necessarily knowing where they're going to drop as Josh does go down, but they've been in this situation before at the Summit Land, having to change things up at the last second. But it gets even worse now with Josh going down. Iamzo left by himself. The blessing is they're at least above the damage threshold. On the other side, no blessings coming their way. Victor V down. Queasy still getting struck by Storm Surge. Eventually gets in the box before he gets sent right back to the lobby. And this is where you see game 1 of finals sometimes usually has the most tricks going around.
Yeah, Storm Surge starting to take its toll. Queasy and Victor V are now down and out. Ianzo and Josh not looking too great either as Josh gets taken out, trying to basically barrel roll his way into the safe zone. It was close, but a little too far for Ianzo here. At least Josh's loot, he does get to secure it, right? So he gets a couple extra heals. He'll be able to go the distance for a little bit here. It's not too far off a placement, especially considering they pulled zone, but we'll see what the damage is looking like. Oh yeah, not too good. This is a rough spot to be in.
Yeah, and you can kind of see him switch into that different shotgun instead of the striker. That's just because he probably wants to shoot off into the distance. It does land damage farther than the striker actually would. So Yamzo trying to use his brain. Instead of preparing for a box-to-box fight that may never come, he's just trying to make sure he gets above the damage threshold. Bugha down in the distance as well, currently positioned up above. And this is where you can see how chaotic this lobby is actually getting because of Storm Surge. If you're not proactive, you're not reacting in real time, you end up in a position just like this. You see Braids on the other side, Bugha down, but he is really making it work. A couple shots can connect. He's going to get him 100 above.
Yeah, Braid's looking to clutch this one up by himself. Yamzo here looking to play solo too. Surge is now active. Yamzo taking a bunch of damage. Meanwhile, Braid's just trying to stay active so he doesn't slip behind, but Yamzo's got so much more to worry about. Meanwhile, a team falls. He manages to catch a little bit of relief here, but for how long will that last? And look at how close they are actually. Yamzo and Braids hip to hip as two of the only solos here on the backside of zone.
I was going to say this zone could be a nightmare here in the next one, but it's not going to be a max pull for either one of our solos, Yamzo or Braids, but it's definitely going to be a ton of distance to overcome, especially for Yamzo. 42 below, active surge. He lands a shot, but it's going to be a trade, so not a net positive overall. A couple of quick tags are going to land onto the back of X-Spawn. That's going to get him 141 above the damage threshold, but you can see he's running out of everything.
Yeah, but that was an incredible play now. That buys him so much more time here. As long as he doesn't slip behind, he'll definitely be able to turn this into something here. The longer he waits, the later he gets to rotate here. We'll see if that ends up playing to his benefit. Meanwhile, Reed and Cooper earning their drop, making the most out of it as well. 2 elims here and now. Looking comfortable, but the material count a little worse for wears. Very light here for the most part.
Yeah, and you can kind of see 400 damage above. We saw Reed's loadout for a second, Cooper's as well. Double Spire rifle. So you see their plan for this game, Monster, would just get above that damage threshold at any cost. They're hoping to maybe pick up a pistol or something else as the game does continue. But you're seeing the update affecting a lot of the game plans. Even Clicks and Rapid here having a little bit of a struggle. Half their POI taken below the damage threshold. Rapid finds that opportunity. 46 above. It's at least a moment for them to breathe as they get another opportunity there. Not necessarily the elimination monster, but all of that loot.
Hey, but also the placement points. They've managed to make it to the most difficult part of Fortnite, and that's the end game where placement points start to get dished out here. Meanwhile, Acorn's down. Bolt is by himself, finding himself in the mix here, 10 below as well, but a couple players just have to fall here for him to be safe, so shouldn't be too much of an issue. In any case, being a solo here is a tough spot to be in. Let's see what Bolts can do as far as clutches are concerned. We saw what Acorn did over the course of the last weekend as he found his way to a massive highlight. Meanwhile, looking at things from the high ground, you have Aiden just kind of holding things down in Calixi. Yamzo still standing here, finds another elim as well. This one onto Oliver OG. Very nice for them. That's 3 elims and more placement points.
Yeah, from 2 builds to 65 plus. One of the most important refreshes anybody can come at this point in time, trying to keep himself going. He's in the meat of those placement points. Top 10 is where you get half of them. And as of now, Aiden and Clixie, though, up at the top. They have not been contested. We're going over some recycled buildings down below mountains, so nobody really having a chance at this point in time to look up. But we know it's only the night zone, still early, so we know that can come.
This is so uncharacteristic for Peter and Boyo. They have pulled some max zones here, forcing them into low ground, cost them so much material. But this is a dangerous place for all the other duos to have Peter and Boyo. The speed, the accuracy, their ability to perform is top tier. You're watching it go down. Meanwhile, Benno Ager, 7 eliminations, dominating right now. My gosh, they are running away with things.
Can already see in the inventory as well, Mythic Pistol, which leads me to leave Victor V, Queasy, probably taken out by them. or something close to it as Higgs gets an elimination. They immediately try to elevate themselves again. High ground has just been eliminated, and it's Peterbot and Pollo out of nowhere to be the ones to do it, and they've claimed their stake on high ground. But you see Veno and Agers underneath them. Higgs and Curves still firing off, getting eliminations. These are all teams that know how to play towards that height, and here it goes. Veno and Agers are going to be the first ones to challenge up above. Peterbot's down. Agers has gonna fall. Both teams being shattered and placed as solos.
Doesn't matter how good you are, Pollo is dangerous. He wins his ones. Veno gets deleted on the way up, and he's forced to the ultimate low ground. I think another team's actually got their attention to the high ground, but Pollo, it's no sweat as he's trying to download what's happening here all around him. Meanwhile, you can see Vert lurking. You can see Bolt still clutching as a solo as well. And take a look at this. Ritual finding himself by himself once again. Cole doing the smart thing here, dropping him all the excess heals. There goes the material count. He has to stay in the storm in order to pick up these extra mats here to try to go to distance now.
Yeah, but these could be crucial placement points here. Risk-free placement points for the most part, bypassing everything that's going on here. And while Pollo's as a solo up above, Higgs and Curve are clearing out the mid and low layers. Anybody who crossed their path has just been eliminated. And down below, all the way in the modern, Muzz and Rise still holding strong. Their 5th elimination here. It could be between these three teams left as another one's gonna fall. QK has just got eliminated.
NA is so excited. We're watching these exceptional duos go toe-to-toe right now. Curve and Higgs trying to fight for the high ground here, but Pollo's putting up a strong defense. Curve goes around for it. He wants this high ground more than anything, as that'll set them up for the win. There it is. Higgs beats down Pollo, and now it's theirs to run away with. A little bit of fall damage, some extra shots here, though, so low ground recognizing there's some danger up top. Remember, that's Rise and Muzz who are running out of material here. This is a big refresh for them. There it is. They managed to get the loot here, and now we're looking at the 2v2.
Yeah, that Mythic Warforged could be the difference, but really no chance to use it. Muzz is gonna go down first. His teammate Rise is gonna fall to the zone, and Higgs and Curve end off heats with 18 eliminations and start grand finals with a win.
Had the pleasure to talk with Curve to see what he was capable of, and he is carrying that momentum right now. Game 1 to Higgs and Curve there, Zeke. What an exciting start.
What am I watching in game number 1? Oh my gosh, 12 Elin. Victory Royale out of Higgs and Curve. I cannot believe. Is there anything Curve can't do? Kelly, is there anything he can't do?
I mean, lose maybe, but honestly, Higgs and Curve played that so well. We got to watch so many different perspectives there where it looked like there was just so much control on the low and high ground. But then here, Higgs and Curve kind of on the mid ground, but also making sure that they're grabbing these elims, grabbing these refreshes. And then, of course, they wait for the chaos on the high ground. And it was Peter and Pollo versus Veno and AJ. And they just wait till everyone's eliminating each other to steal that hideaway for themselves.
Yeah, kind of crazy how high ground kind of played out here. I would have came into the NA finals here thinking that we would have had some established teams up there throughout, like Peterbot and Pollo, or maybe Queasy even in the mix. But yeah, a lot of teams kind of willing to go for it, but Curve and Higgs were the ones to kind of find the timing that was necessary. Again, we talk about it time and time again. Sometimes taking the high ground just a little bit too early opens you up to just way too much damage. You can see it's 11 zone with just a 10-second timer left before it jumps over to 12th zone. So they go very, very late, and as a result of that, they only had to take out Pollo, and